The Harper government is either deaf to the outcry of Canadians over the treatment of wounded soldiers or simply doesn't care. Wounded veterans need to know we support them and back them in what could be the longest battle of their lives, and one they should not have to fight. The one against their own stubborn government.
Help fight for Canada's wounded veterans. Sign our online petition at cknw.com.
Tell me about the pink dust.
The pink dust is what happens when a bullet hits a body and a bullet explodes. And from what our son told us, all you see is pink dust. There's no body left.
And he, from his vantage point atop of a light armored vehicle, a LAV, that's what he saw when he used his weapon to kill people off in the distance.
Yes, and he learned very early on his first patrol, as they were going down the road, and he heard a bullet whistle by his ear. It became very clear to him immediately that it was either kill or be killed. No training prepared him for that.
But that is the nature of war, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Your son is suffering with PTSD, which we hear those initials a lot. How does PTSD present in your son?
In many ways, it's as bad, possibly worse, than getting your leg or arm blown off. He suffers from extreme depression. And
we're told by the Veterans Affairs Minister that, look, 96% of veterans decide they want the lump sum payment. What happened to your son when he was handed that chunk of money?
Well, John, like a lot of soldiers who are suffering from post-traumatic stress, they need a high, whether it be self-medicated or alcohol or buying a car or a truck. And that lump sum payment doesn't go very far. It doesn't last them for the rest of their lives. They're not motivated to invest it, and even if they did, it wouldn't amount to much. So our son, like many others, ran out and bought a hot new car. What's it going to be worth in 4 or 5 years?
Yeah. It certainly isn't going to supply him with even a limited income.
No. So our government is treating our veterans like yesterday's garbage.
Yet another report is adding to the mountain of evidence that the Canadian government is forcing severely disabled soldiers into near poverty under the new Veterans Charter. The report of the Military Ombudsman is officially released tomorrow, but an advance copy of his 4-year investigation backs what badly wounded soldiers have been saying since the charter was enacted in 2006, that the lowest-ranking, most severely disabled of Canada's soldiers and their families are the biggest financial losers. The 2006 legislation replaced a lifelong pension with a lump sum payment, which in many cases doesn't even equal what the courts hand out in personal injury cases like car accidents. Joining me on the line now is Jim Karagiannis. He's the Veterans Affairs critic for the Liberals.
I want to thank you for bringing me on the show. And allow me, please, to read a statement that was made in 1917, just prior to the Battle of Vimy Ridge, by Conservative Prime Minister Robert Borden. And he said, "I give you this assurance that you need not fear that the government and the country will fail to show just appreciation of your services to the country." We have soldiers that are having difficulty and veterans readjusting, and those are the people that we have the sacred obligation.
In a foreign field, in a distant land, when our country called, we were there.
Rock icon Bryan Adams on the line. You've written a song to honor wounded soldiers.
Looking after our own when they come back is extremely important. And, most of all, actually acknowledging that they exist is such an important thing. And so I think by bringing it to the forefront like this, we have to remember, and that's, Remembrance Day, that's why it's called Remembrance Day. We mustn't forget the people that have gone and done this for us.
And we haven't forgotten. The campaign to bring attention to the plight of Canada's wounded and disabled veterans continues. So far, our online petition asking the government to treat our wounded veterans with greater dignity has eclipsed the 16,800 mark. We continue to advocate on behalf of Canada's wounded veterans as they battle their own government for proper compensation.